Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly developer and technology podcast, talking about all things in the world of things. We'll do a quick update here, Frank. Some important breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. We do have a podcast this week, but we do have to talk about your successful launch.
Yes, James, thank you. Yes, it's a small miracle. Apple allowed my app into their app store. They now have 1001 apps for the Vision OS platform. Feels good. Feels good. And in all honesty, I've ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be like a VR, AR app developer. So it is kind of fun. I'm like, hey, cool, From early sales, I don't think I'm going to get quite too rich from this one. I'm only going to be medium rich.
Okay, that's good.
Probably only afford a couple more houses, not the whole plot that I wanted. Anyway, yeah, it feels good. 9 total days. That was fun. Thanks, Apple. Let's do it again.
9 days of stress-inducing terribleness. Is it one of those apps you think you're going to kind of adjust in the price? You're going to kind of ride the early adopter wave and just kind of see how it goes?
Yeah. Because we've spoken before on the podcast. I didn't think I was going to do upfront app charges anymore. Just pay for the app, you get the app. But you had convinced me subscription only from now on. But like it's early days on the platform, and I'm actually happy to see that people are just selling apps for a dollar amount. It's kind of the old days of iOS. Thank you. So I'm happy to do that. But I recognize the modern world is more the freemium model. So release like a free version and upgrade to pro, and so I'll probably be doing that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I really wish that there was a way, because I do like the idea of this. Like this app, the night vision goggles, make a lot of sense to be like, oh, here's an app. Like if you were to go to the store and buy night vision goggles, you would fork over a few $100s, and then you would get them. I don't know how much night vision goggles are, but I imagine more than $13. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense in this realm. There's no services. You're not paying anything extra. Like, here's the app. Here you go.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that, like any paid app, there's like not a try before you buy type of situation, right? Ideally, Apple could be like, hey, let me get a 30-day free trial, a 60-day free trial. But what you would have to do is make it free. And then you would have to like charge after, like you get 30 minutes of use. Like there's an app. There's another Cadence app on the App Store.
Is there? Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just called Cadence or something like that. I don't know. Mine's called My Cadence, so it's more personal.
Much better, yeah.
Now, they have the restriction, which is the app is free. My app is also free. But you can only use it for 5 minutes, and then you have to pay $9 to unlock unlimited time.
Yeah.
My whole thing was... It's a fair model. Yeah. It's a fair model. See if it works. I mean, I like that model because... if it doesn't work with your sensor, all this stuff, boom, you're good to go. Unlike having to buy it up front. And then if it doesn't work with your sensor or something like that, then you're like, oh, I want my refund, got it through. It's a 1-star review process. Where mine is free, everything's free. But if you want all these extra features, blah, 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 boom, there you go. But, depending on what people want, it's good to go. Where the only way for you to implement it would be, hey, you could use it. You'd have to have a clock in there. You get 20 minutes of time. You could buy night vision tokens, and then you could redeem those tokens for night vision credit hours in the app. That feels just dirty and wrong, mostly.
Yeah, so like when you're in the darkest, scariest part of the forest, I just turn it off. Just like, good luck, buddy. You got this. There's definitely not a bush in front of you, and definitely not a cliff off to your side. Give me my money. No, I prefer the simple model. I've always preferred it. It's harder in the long run. Obviously, you have to constantly be getting new users, and it's harder. Whereas with a subscription, at least you can build up a user base. But it's so much fun to implement freemium. Like, it's gotten easier. I'll admit it's gotten easier in apps, but it's still not fun. It's at least 3 UIs that you have to build and test in the app.
Yeah. Now, I do think if you came out with a Night Vision Pro version, right? You have the Night Vision version, and then you have the Night Vision Pro version. Now, the Pro version, you could have a bunch of different colors, and you could have like different scan lines. You could have like filters, like on your like. Do you go into like snake mode, like Metal Gear Solid mode? You know what I mean? Where it's like, I mean, that would be pretty neato. I don't know if that's possible. Is it only blue right now? Is like one blue, and that's all you get?
Within the app, you can change the colors. But I should have more baked in palettes.
Yeah.
I should use my creative skills. But I'm like, at least I give the user control. If you don't like my blue purple world that I love my blue purple world. But if you want a yellow red world because you're crazy, you can go do that.
Virtual boy world, perfect.
Yeah, is that what? Yeah, hot dog world
Hot dog
from
world.
Windows. Okay.
Yeah. So congratulations, Frank. I'm very
Thank
proud of
you.
you.
Thank you.
So we'll see how it
It's a small
goes.
app. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've talked about it before. My goal is to release a few smaller apps before I work on something big. I circuit 3D on Vision, so that's I want to get very comfortable with the platform before I tackle a larger project. And this was a huge learning experience, and it's super fun. So go buy Vision goggles.
If
You
you
don't
have
have
a
a
Vision
Vision
Pro,
Pro.
yeah.
Go buy it anyway. Can you do that? I don't think you can. Try anyway.
I thought you would have called it. See, the funny part is if you would have called it Vision Pro goggles, then I bet they would
Yeah.
have like took it down because it's like, oh, Vision Pro is probably trademark. But now you have Vision goggles.
The words are so weird. You can't say headset. It's not a headset. I'm surprised they allowed goggles. But the problem is, even though it's kind of a new app store, it's totally not a new app store. So there's still a lot of name collisions. And
Hmm.
so coming up with the simple names, we've discussed it on the show before. I'm not into cutesy names anymore. I want the most SEO friendly. I want the name of my app to be your search terms
Hey,
for
listen.
whatever the app does.
If you need a timer for streaming, my stream timer is it. If you need cadence, my cadence is it. I get it, Frank. I
Yeah.
get it.
Right.
All right, here's my topic this week.
Okay.
I want to talk about electric vehicles, and specifically, I drove and rented, and by renting, enabled me to drive my first EV vehicle of all time. And we went several hundred miles in the EV. This is the Hyundai Iconic 5,
Ooh, I
is what
like
I
it.
got.
Ionic. Let's see.
Ionic. Iconic,
Yeah.
ionic, ionic. I think it's the ionic because it's got ions.
Beautiful car.
It goes
Beautiful
right.
car.
It was a standard range vehicle, but it had
Mhm.
all the bells and whistles. So about 280 miles was, I think that's standard range. Feels about appropriate. And I had the choice between the Mustang EV
Oh.
and the Ionic 5.
Yeah.
And I went Ionic because I was like, they look very similar. But I was like, I feel like that's an expensive vehicle. I don't like driving expensive vehicles. You know what I mean? I know it's already an expensive vehicle, but I feel like the Mustang's an even more expensive vehicle. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. But can we go on a quick side tangent here? We gotta go on a branding side tangent. Is this the Mustang that looks absolutely nothing like a Mustang? Is it that
That is
one?
correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. It looks like any other EV on the road.
It drives me nuts that they're using the Mustang brand name for that. Like,
Yeah.
I would love an electric Mustang. Make a Mustang looking car with an electric motor. It's not that difficult. Just take the body, put it on. But yeah, it's funny when you go to the pumps, um, every modern electric car has it's going to be an aesthetic and there's going to be a great name for it, but it has electric car aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so they all kind of look the same, but Ionic's a good looking one. I think that one's like 10K more than mine. So it's a little bit more of a car than I have.
It's a really nice car. Lots of room in it. Now, this is my first time experiencing my good friend Craig Dunn, who met us. We were down in SFO. We went south down to Santa Cruz and then Carmel.
Cool.
Stopped in Monterey along the way. And I was like, well, we're going to go a long distance. California. If I'm going to rent an EV, California gas, very expensive. So if I'm going to drive a lot, going to be good to go. Now, I just want to tell you the experience, everything like this. And I did get a good breakdown from Craig, which was very helpful, especially with the charging. And I learned a lot. But when I opened the Avis app, and the Avis app's like, hey, we're going to give you this car, a gas car. And I was like, okay, I always like to look at my options. I always like to look for a hybrid because it's always my jam.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, EVs. I was like, I didn't even know they had EVs. This is fantastic. I guess I was like, Heather, do you want to get an EV? She's like, well, let's get an EV. I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to be so eco-friendly. So eco-friendly, Frank.
You're not allowed to say those words, everyone. It's star asterisk dagger.
When you're at a EV charge station and you hear this, like, oh my God, what's going to explode? So anyways, now I get into the EV, zero instructions. There's no instructions. Because when you get a rental car, a gas car, and a combustion engine vehicle, they're pretty much all the same. You turn the thing, you do the thing. All the gizmos and gadgets have essentially been standardized. And when you get a rental car, they even have it most of the time where the majority of the vehicles that you get are all the same too. So like they don't have like different, tower things. They're kind of all the same, which is great for someone that's renting a car. When you get into the EV, you're like, I don't know what the hell, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. Now, I don't know what I'm doing. There's so many screens in front of me. There's just like the whole thing is screens. And I was like, how do I get CarPlay? Do I want CarPlay? I think I want CarPlay. I do the CarPlay. I plug in everything and I'm like, all right, like, is it on? Because again, it's silent. So I have no idea. Now, here's the thing though, Frank. I'm like, okay, well, I see it's at like 99% or whatever. I'm like, that's good. But there's no information on what is this car? What kind of charger does this car have? What kind of, what up to what charger? What kind of apps you need? Where do you charge it? What percentage do you need to bring it back? There's no information. Zero information. Like I am an idiot. I didn't even know that there's a charger cable in the trunk until Craig was like, I bet there's a charger cable in the trunk. You could charge it at your house, that you're renting. I bet that will work, blah, blah, blah. And like, sure enough, there's zero information. So car rental companies don't assume that just because we're renting an EV that we know anything about EVs. I'm like, look at this EV. I'm going to get that. Boom. So anyways, that's my from app to leaving the portal. And then I leave the portal. And by portal, I mean the rental car facility. And I asked the attendant, I said, hey, I was just a quick question. What do I got to bring this puppy back at? Like percentage wise, right? I know if I'm filling up gas, it's got to come back full. 70%.
That's the standard, huh? I didn't know. I've never rented one.
He said around 70%. And I was like, around 70%? That's a wide range. Is that 60%? Is that 80%? And sure enough, it's 70%. And I did find an article on a third-party website, not on Avis's website, that said if you bring it back under 70%, they charge you $30.
Wow, that's actually a lot. I mean, given the price of electricity, that's a lot.
Given the price, So that's my leaving the rental car facility. And then I want to get into all the bits and pieces beyond that, Frank. But
let me stop you. Just let you take a breath there. I got to say, knowing whether the car is on or off is easily the hardest part of an electric car. I've had mine now for, I think, 6 months. I still try to put it in gear when it's not on, and I try to get out while it's still on. I do all the mistakes because it's subtle. Mine's terrible. Mine makes like a beautiful chime. It's not a chime. I don't know. It's like a meditation bong.
It does.
Yep. That doesn't mean it's on. That's just, hello, welcome to car.
Yeah.
You still got to press the on button. And I find it hilarious that all the on buttons are still ignition key size. Like it's that huge circle size.
Yeah.
So you got to go find that little button. And mine is honestly not in a great spot. So I'm always like trying to get to the little button. So anyway, that's my long way of saying electric cars, you can now never tell if they're on or off.
I had more problems knowing if it was off. I kept getting out of the car and then it would beep at me and it's like, whoa, hey, I'm still on. Hey, keys have left the vehicle.
Over here.
I'm trying to drive here. Yeah. It's just like, whoa, hey. I was like, oh, and the one time I was even trying to charge it and it was on. It's like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
It was very upset at me the whole time.
Now, the charging is tricky, but I would say we're in a really, but coming from zero, I understand your confusion. But if you know anything about electric cars, you know we're in a real plateau stage right now. We standardized on electric charging a few years back. Pretty much every car can handle the same pump. Technically, there's differences. The older ones can only handle this much power at a time. The other ones, energy at a time, and the other ones can handle more. But the pumps, I keep calling them pumps. I'm old. Yeah. They adjust. We have computer programs that run, and they're like, "Hey, car, how much can you take?" And it says, "I'll take this much," and that's what the pump gives you. So, as a consumer, you really don't have to worry about much. The one thing that they should tell you, though, from a newbie's perspective, is you want the DC charging, you want the fast charging, because we should get into this, but I just wired up the house so I can charge my car more
cool.
efficiently.
Nice.
But that's still a very slow charge process compared to the DC fast charges you can get at Charge America or the Tesla superchargers.
Yeah. So this is what I probably didn't recognize and understand. I think that would have been helpful. Correct. Is they ideally would give me some information on like what apps in the area to use. Now I did have ChargePoint at EVgo, and ChargePoint shows you EVgo locations as well, but you can at least tap a credit card to sign up for the EVgo app. You got to have all the apps, just install every app. It's like IoT, every single app. That's what Craig told me. He's like, get every single app. It doesn't matter. Just buy them all.
You don't want to get stranded. Get every app.
Just get them all. Now, ChargePoint seems to be everywhere. Now, down in Carmel and stuff like that, there's not as many, but there are some chargers around, which is good. They're all slower chargers. But what I think would have been helpful is, and Craig had to explain this to me, was what the kilowatt charging actually meant for miles there, right? Now, when you plug in the car, it'll tell you an estimate of how long it'll take. But I didn't understand what it meant to plug it into like a wall socket versus a 6-watt. Not to mention that there are charge points that are 6 watts max, that if another person is charged into it, will go down to 3 watts, right?
Right.
Fun fact. Not all of them, though, just some of them, apparently. And then I didn't realize that there's the DC quick charge, and I didn't know what the maximum charge was of this Ioniq 5.
Yeah.
I did find out that it's 100. That's the max. That's very fast, apparently.
That car is really good. That's one of the top. That one can handle, like, most stations can't put out what that car can take in. So you were pretty safe with that car.
I also did find that out. We did get to 100 at some point.
Bravo, I've never been there.
we did the entire gambit, Frank. We did socket charging just at the Airbnb. That was free.
So is that like your 120 voltage, like a normal Americano plug?
Outdoor plug went over, like it was street parking, so it went over a fence. You know what I mean, and into there. I think that was charging at like 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's terrible. I think my car, now I don't let my car get down to 0, but I think it would take like 4 or 5 days at 120 volts to go from 0 to 100%.
But free, because I'm at the Airbnb.
Rad.
Now, what I also didn't recognize is that all the ChargePoint stations not only have different power wattages, which means vastly different things, but there are different prices at all of them. They're all even 6 watt, like the ones in Santa Cruz, different than the ones in Carmel, different than other ones. Even for the same 6-watt charger. I didn't realize that. I didn't know what the base rate was. So when I was at the hotel, we stayed in Santa Cruz at a hotel, and there was a charge point right there. I was like, "Wow, how lucky are we?" Plug it in. I plugged it in for like 2 hours. It was $9, and that was 6 watts. And I walked in. I walked in, and I was like so excited. I was like, "Wow, this is great." I was like, I guess it's a little cheaper than gas. I was like, okay. I was like, my first experience, like, yeah, that's California gas.
Right.
And then I walked in, and the reception guy was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, the ones here are like 5 times more expensive than they should be. I was like, "Oh, well, that'd have been nice." And he's like, "It's not our fault. It's just like whatever, blah blah." So then when I actually charged it for another like 2.5 hours in Carmel, it was like $2, and I was like, "Oh, that's much better, right?" So much cheaper to charge, and I was like, "Okay, that makes sense for the slow charge," and that's much better because it's cheaper. But I didn't realize that there's this, and then there's all of these like maximum hours, and then there's also if it's full up over to 100, then there's like penalties, and I was like, "Wow, like there is so much to learn in general for this thing." I was like, "Wow, this is bananas," and then as we're doing this, it's like, okay, well, in Carmel, we're going to walk downtown. So I'll plug it in, charge it up, and it was totally fine. And this is good. I will tell you this much. Actually, having a gas vehicle that just gives you like 1/8 increments, so much nicer to have because it's like not fearful. When I see it go down, I'm like, oh, this number, it's like your battery on your laptop. You're like, oh no, like, oh my, it's like terrifying drive, and you're like trying to game the system by like, I'm gonna go. What do I want? Level 1, level 3, whatever. Like chargebacks. Anyways, so that was really fascinating, and then the real interesting experience we had is that we went into Pacific Grove to get to go see some sites and then get dinner. I was like, oh, this is cool. There's a DC charger here because there's none in Carmel, only slow chargers. There's a DC charger.
Finally, something good.
This one
I
goes
mean,
up.
you're killing me, man. I mean, those, yeah. I love you, AC power, but you are the worst for charging a battery.
If you have a lot of time, it was okay because like the one day we worked from home, so we just charged it all day, and I'm like, okay, we got 30 miles for free. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. If you can leave it overnight and you do 30 miles a day, it's beautiful. You get into a good rhythm. For road trips, it's the worst. You can't use it for a road trip.
So I was like, okay, DC charge. This one goes to 66 or something like that. I was like, cool. And we get there and I go, okay, well, we're already at 70%, but I want to get to 100 because it's the only DC fast charge around. And I want to get as close to 100 so we can drive around, not worry, and just max it out. I go, well, I don't want to go. I can't plug it in now, go get dinner. Oh, because I would get to 100 and then I get start penalizing. I don't want to run out of dinner, move the car.
Yeah. Okay. So what's that penalty? I use a brand Charge America, and I believe once it gets to 100%, you're given 15 minutes to exit. Vamos. I believe that's the rule, and I don't know what penalty they charge you or anything, but I'm always there for it.
I think that the EVgo was after 100, then it's $10 an hour.
Okay, so they're charging for expensive parking. Okay.
Yeah, basically you're paying for parking at that point. So it wouldn't have been the worst, but I was like, hey, I'm going to try to...
And also, as a member of the community, there just aren't enough charging stations. So if you're leaving your car at a station, kind of a jerk move. So yeah. I appreciate your concern.
And that was my other thing, too, is like there's only 2 DC fast chargers there. And I go, I don't want to hog both of them. Now, nobody used any of them. Now, funnily enough, though, there were actually slow chargers a few stalls over, but the DC fast chargers, they're all lit up. They're huge. They're like, let's do this. Right? The slow chargers... They're like tiny. They're like hidden in the darkness. So I would have just done the slow chargers. It would have been cheaper, right? But I was like, oh, let's do this. Mm-hmm. So I went the gambit. Like the first one was like $9, and then it was like $2, and then this one was like $7, and it pumped it up pretty good.
I think Craig failed you a little bit here. If you're doing the slow chargers, there's a lot of people who just offer theirs for free too. So I'm we got to get you on the app that has the free chargers.
Yeah.
They're a little hit or miss and mostly miss, as in you report these and then if you pull up to it, it's not there. You report it in the app. Oh, it's kind of like a community driven one. Really cool.
That's cool.
The problem is they never seem to clean out the database, so they have some old ones on there that just never update. But wanted to bring that up. Not all of them are pay. There are free ones out there.
That's cool. Yeah, actually, Craig said that they go to like a school nearby at night and they can charge for free or something like that, or like it's extremely cheap. And I think at the Microsoft campus, it's like they have tons of chargers, like super cheap or whatever. Okay, so we got that charged up. That was cool. It was fine because we walked around the downtown, like saw some stuff. So then we drove around a bunch, and then I said, okay, well, we have to drive from Carmel to the airport and
be at 70%.
And be at 70%. Now, I don't want to be at like 100%.
Math out.
I don't give them 100. I don't give them free electricity.
Am I a sucker? I am not a sucker.
No, I am not. Now, what that meant is I needed to figure out how to get and then try to equate some things and some math and whatnot. So we stopped actually on the Microsoft campus. I didn't charge there. There's only slow chargers there. But I was like, this is Mountain View, right? Because once you get into the city, it's like the map is like, it's like it's infected with EV chargers. Outside the city, it's like little blips. It's like little blips,
every
like someone
miles.
Yeah, like good luck. I hope don't run out of electricity. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to this. Craig's just raving about the EVgo's. He's like, EVgo, EVgo, EVgo.
Okay.
So I pull up to the EVgo. Now, you don't really know where it's at. It's just in the middle of nowhere. Now, I don't understand why every gas station just doesn't have EV chargers. How amazing would that be? Hello, money-making opportunity. This is mind-boggling.
I don't get it. Okay, let's talk about that for a brief moment, because what is going on here? Is it a protection racket? Is like Shell Oil paying them not to have chargers?
I don't know.
Because I agree, they have space where cars go.
Yeah.
Put extension cable where cars go.
You got room for an air pump. Put a DC fast charge.
Not a conspiracy theorist, but Man, I feel like a conspiracy theorist with this one. Like, why doesn't every gas station have these?
I mean, that's the future, right? Heather and I were talking about it. Like, imagine how many parking spots are in like one of those huge pilots and one of the, whatever. Like, but even just at your gas station, you're like, well, you got all these that you can just pull up to and get gas at, right? There's like all these lanes, and there's like parking that like no one's at. It's like there's all these parking spots. Hello.
And every one of them should have a little cable thing.
Yeah.
And I don't get it because, like, okay, all these. Hi, everyone. If you own a retail building in a commercial district with a parking lot, just install them. It's free money. You put a little meter on there. People put their credit card in, and your power bill goes up, but you charge them a 4x what you're paying, and we're all happy.
That's
Society
fine.
is happy.
And I think here's the ticket. I would expect that at every shopping center or every gas station, there's limits on time, right? So, for example, at a gas station, 15-minute max. It's a fast charge. I just need to get charge up.
DC pump up.
Boom, DC pump up. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And even at the EV Go, the maximum's 30 minutes anyways because it's pumping out a hundo. But again, because the idea is to get people in and out as fast as possible. They want to make their monies. But that's what I'm thinking is at the gas stations, at every single TJ Maxx, hello, boom, give me the money. And I know it's probably not the businesses, but it's whoever's owning that parking lot. But yeah, this was in front of a Safeway. So it was really convenient. I actually had to ask a gentleman who was charging his vehicle. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing over here. This is different than Charge Point. Help me out. And what funny part is like it kept not connecting to the vehicle. And he's like, oh, you just got to call him. So he like left. I was like, okay. And what I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to take it out and put it back in. I'm like, before I call someone on the phone, let me just.
I'm a programmer. I'm a technician here. Let me do the advanced setup here.
It didn't click. It didn't click.
It didn't physically connect.
Didn't physically connect.
I had a scarier one. Day one, I bought the car. I'm like, I'm going to go practice pumping it up because I want to go practice this.
You're like, well, this could be cool, right? You're like, this is so exciting.
I got so many pictures of it. I was so excited to be pumping electricity. But my first 2 tries, it said cannot connect to car. And this is like a data communications. Like I said, they're negotiating the power rate.
Yep.
I'm like, what do? I don't know what to do. And on the 3rd time it worked, and I've never had that problem since. So I think I just got really unlucky with the pump I was using.
So I get it to work. Now, the interesting part is that, so at the EV, at the Charge Point and the EV Go, at the Charge Point station, so the second one I went to, that one was the 66 kilowatt hour charger. Now, it did have my charger, and you like when you open the door on the Ioniq, that you have to take another piece off for the fast charge. So there's like a little plug. So then you plug it in. Now, interestingly enough, at that Charge Point, there was another type of outlet. It was like even a bigger pump thing. I don't know if that's a Tesla charger or if it's something else, but there's 2 types on it, which is confusing. So I was like, can I go to a Tesla station? Can I? Is there adapters? Like, I don't understand because again, there's no information in this car. So like, you're just assuming. I know the apps you can enter the car, but I'm like, I go to Ioniq and there's like a wide range. Like, I don't know what vehicle this is. It's an Ioniq 5, so I just pick one and hope it works. But I get to the EV Go, Hundo, right? And so then it's right by the Safeway. So I could go in, use the bathroom, Heather goes in, use the bathroom, come back out, 15 minutes, bump, nice. $10 later, charged up a bunch, right?
Awesome.
So I think in general, we drove hundreds of miles and we spent about maybe $25, $30. It could have been a lot cheaper. That first one, we got bamboozled, but now we know. So it's still a lot cheaper than gas. Now, here's the thing. I understand why people are a little hesitant about buying EV cars. This entire system, what a catastrophe. It's just a mess. It's
terrible.
It is. Someone's got to fix this. I'm just saying, like, it works, but it feels like it was all thrown together. But no, it's been like 10 years. It's like every app's different. Every charger's different. Everything's a little bit faster. There's no like, there's like weird communication. Everything's slow. It's like, what is going on? Why is there none in this town, but 1 billion in this town? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then you're like, well, what if every charger's full? Like, I'm just screwed. Like, what is happening here? So I will say this, if you're just zipping around town, no big deal. I think it's fine.
None.
Now,
perfect.
But if you're going distances, then yeah, that's a problem. And that's why people don't buy it because they're like, what about that one time ever that I'm going to go on this? Once a year, I'm going to go on a big trip. So I actually, Heather and I talked about this. I think that if we got a extended range, we'd have zero issues doing anything. And even if we're driving to Seattle in Centralia, there's like there's enough fast chargers between where I live, and we're going through big cities, I don't think it would be a problem at all. The real problem would be like once we get to Seattle, if we're renting an Airbnb and doing something like trying to it's a time thing. That's what I really figured out is, to me, renting an EV, I'm very uncertain. Like if you're renting a car and you're driving in town, or you only plan to go, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 miles, I would probably recommend an EV because you don't even have to fill it up then. If it's at 100, you're probably not going to get to, or if it's going to be, it's going to cost you $5, probably worth it. And then you can charge it ahead of time to the airport. You have to stop before the airport, bingo, bango. Now for us, because we were doing extended, I mostly just felt a little stressed the entire time. I never got below 60%. So it's not like I was stressed about running out of energy.
It's the worst, huh? Yeah.
No, I'm just stressed about where are the chargers? Are they going to be there? And it kind of like used a little bit of my mind mush to think it took a little bit of like this 0.0001% of my mind.
Yeah.
I was now thinking about this stupid vehicle that I had to charge all the time to get back to the airport, right? It all worked out fine. We had plenty of time. We even got to go to campus, got a free sandwich, got a free smoothie, but it worked out.
You have to name your demons. I believe it's called range anxiety. I believe that's the term we've all given it. Like, yeah, it's stupid. And you were getting to the point where you have the hyper accurate gauge with the number on it telling you you have 78 miles. What does that mean? Like, I'm notorious for driving my cars around on a quarter tank or an eighth a tank. I'm like, whatever.
That light's not on, whatever. Because guess what? There's a gas station every 5 seconds. Unnecessary too.
I never did the math to know what that was. Was that 50 miles, 40 miles? So like when you're driving an EV around and it says 60 miles, you're like, I'm going to die. I might not make it past that next turn up there. I've only got 60 miles. America is big. Like, can I even get to a Walmart in 60 miles? Whereas like if I had a gas car, I'd be at an eighth of a tank and be like, I can get another 100 out of this probably.
It's true. It's too. And then also this one, Craig was asking me, he was like, oh, is there a min and a max? Like, he's like, like, mine says, here's the number, but here's the min and the max. I said, no, there's just one number. And,
what's there?
And when you're going uphill, that number goes down much faster than when you're going downhill where it reverses, in there. Because when we go across the pass in our Subaru, which is a combustion engine, the miles go from like, oh, you had, you're going uphill. It's like, oh, it does drop faster, but oh, you're going downhill. Oh, you just got all those miles back. So of course it works the same in an EV, which makes sense because how it has to work.
We call it physics, energy.
Energy, yes. Just simple things that we learned in grade school. So that's fascinating, but there was no min and max. And also there wasn't I think in a vehicle, in a gas combustion engine nowadays, and for a long time, you would see your miles per gallon, right? That you're getting. There wasn't a miles per percentage, right? If it was like, hey, you're getting 20 miles per 10%, I can plan for that. That's easy math. 10.
Yeah.
In my mind, there's 280 miles in this thing. So in my mind already, I'm like, okay, every 10% is 28 miles.
Yeah.
Just simple math, right? Take 280 divided by, 10, boom, there's your math, right? So that's my assumption. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just my assumption. So, my car, I can actually see how I'm doing on my drive in real time, and it tells me those things. But I wasn't getting that percentage. Like, okay, like, can I plan this out a little bit more and do this? So it was a little bit more stressful, a little bit more planning. I still think it was a great experience. Very, very nice car. Like, very nice car. I think so much that Greg wants to buy one now. I'm pretty sure after driving in the backseat.
They are very nice cars. I'm happy you had a good experience because I want to relate. My brother-in-law recently rented an EV, and I didn't get all the details of the story, but basically what I heard was catastrophe.
Oh no!
Didn't do any of the planning, couldn't find chargers, all the things because the network is pretty bad right now.
And if you don't know, I mean, here's the thing. I literally got into this EV. I didn't know what the name of the chargers were. I didn't know anything about the charge levels. I did zero research, right? I'm not like, I'm not, because when you put gas in a vehicle and it's a gas, right? It's not a network. I'm just in my mind, I was like, I'm again, this EV, there's going to be chargers everywhere. Just, wherever. But
GM subsidized 1 million gas stations back in the, the network had to be built up in the 30s, I bet you if you dug around in the menus, you could get all that information. My car has it. It'll break down exactly where the energy is going to. a lot of my energy goes to my heated seats because you know what?
Ah,
What's better than distance? A heated butt. That's
that's
way
right.
more important than distance to me.
That's true. That's
These
true.
are still economy cars, and they have sweet spots that they want to operate in. You don't get any of the advantages of the combustion engine. Combustion engine wastes a lot of energy and comes out as heat, but you can use that heat for wonderful things like heating human beings inside the passenger compartment.
Yeah.
There's like good things about that, whereas an electric car doesn't generate as much heat. The batteries get hot, but they don't really tap into that heat very much, I don't think. So they have to run an electric heater. And as you know, electric heaters are the worst way to heat something, and that's just
Yes.
how you have to go. I'm thinking of heat right now, but obviously it all converts over to air conditioning too in the summertime. It's cold outside right now, though. And then there's just a lot of tricks. So it's amazing. The screens that you can get for your miles per gallon, whatever you want to call it, will show you like the climate control system is using 40% of your energy.
Wow.
And also, these American cars for a very long time, the engines were overboard out. They were just inefficient, but they produced a lot of power. We like them American cars. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Burn the gas.
Yeah.
Whereas all of these cars, they are designing these motors to run at certain speeds given these chassis. My car is very sensitive efficiency wise, talking efficiency, to what speed you're going. All the normal conditions, wind and all that, ignore all of that. It's basically tuned to go 65. That's the sweet spot. That's where it wants to be running. I like to drive at 75, 80, things like that. And it hurts your soul because the dashboard will literally turn yellow to tell you, you're being a little inefficient there,
Wow.
Frank. And I'm like, oh man, I'm yellow dashboarding. So I go back down to 65 miles an hour or whatever. So that can be a little bit frustrating too. I do like the cars because they have a ridiculous amount of power. But because they're economy vehicles, they really are economy vehicles. They just have that sweet spot that you need to be in. So if I'm taking this thing on a road trip, I'm honestly going to turn off the environmental system probably half the time. And I'm going to draft behind semis and I'm going to do 65 miles an hour and get every little kilowatt hour out of that battery that I can because it is a light economy car. And I want to stretch out all those feelings.
And there's a lot going on. Like there's just like lights everywhere. Like everything's lit up. There's like, it's like blue mood lighting and it's like all this dashboard stuff. I know that's not taking a lot of the power. And you're like, it's taking some power, right? Exactly. It is regenerating some energy. And this one had like toggles. So you could toggle how much you want it to auto regenerate. So like when you're gliding, it'll like, auto regenerate stuff. I will say this, because I do have a lot of other things to talk about. This is going to be a in-depth EV rental episode, but a lot of good stuff coming up here soon. So one thing was fascinating though, because the regenerative stuff, once I got back into our car, because here's the weird part, Frank.
I got to ask you the most important question, but I'll let you. Okay. What's the weird part?
The weird part is that when you start your car, the EV, and you put your car into drive or reverse. Now this had a really weird toggle. This
is a choice. Yeah. Okay. Has a toggle. Where did you toggle the toggly thing to?
Well, no, I don't know what the toggly thing is. I didn't see a toggly thing, but the change from drive to reverse to neutral was like it was like a turn dial. It was like so weird, and like I couldn't see it. I didn't like that. It's one thing I didn't like.
It's a BMW thing.
I got used to it. Here's the thing.
Bar.
I think you know what I'm talking about because when you're like, I put it in reverse, and then you take your foot off the brake, it doesn't move. You put it in drive, it doesn't move, and you're like, what is going on?
Because when you have like a bumper car,
it is because when you're in a gas vehicle, the engine is running, and the vehicle, if your foot's not on the brake, the vehicle is moving basically for all intents and purposes. I mean, it could stay flat, but like it likes to creep up and do stuff. But let's say you're on a hill. Okay, you're on a hill. Like we parked on a hill. And, when I'm in a car, I keep my foot and I have to like I don't want it to roll back. So I put my foot on the gas, I'm on the brake, I hit the gas with the other one at the same time. So it ramps up and it goes, no, this vehicle, it just doesn't move. It's like, are you sure you want to move? Because if you really want to move, hit the gas pedal, you dummy, because that's the go button. But I was like, well, but I don't have the brake. I don't have the stop button on. I have no button on. And it just assumes you're good. It's so weird. Is that a toggle? Is that the toggle? Is there a toggle? Anyways, it was so weird to get back into my regular vehicle because I was like, like when I
creeps
take my
away.
foot, it just creeps away from you. It was a little bit. It took a good 10, 15 minutes to get used to getting back to the combustion engine.
Yeah. Okay, so that creep away thing is a complete accident about how the automatic transmission was first designed. It's a bit of a joke. You put the car in drive, it's basically in first gear. They don't have a not engaged first gear. Therefore, when you take the foot off the brake, car go.
It'd be
I used to have
neutral. It would be else your car is in neutral.
yeah. I used to have a 64 Cadillac and we tuned the engine a little incorrectly and that thing would idle at like 15 miles an hour. You took your foot off the brake, you were going. You were just you were just down the street by the time you remember to put your foot back on the brake. Yeah, okay. So all these cars, as far as I can tell, they all have a toggle to switch between two modes. Two modes I like to call old man mode and new kid mode.
Okay.
Old man mode is when you're using an automatic transmission, and when you take your foot off the gas, the car trickles forward at an obnoxious rate. But it's not just forward; it's also braking. Okay, this is the fun part. So, new kid mode, also I like to call bumper car mode or go kart mode, is when your foot is not on the gas, it's kind of braking.
It's braking.
Basically, it's almost better to think of it as an auto brake.
Yes.
So when your foot is not on the gas, it's auto braking. So then you press the gas. Look, I'm calling it the gas pedal. When you press the accelerator, car accelerates.
Yep.
And then when you take your foot off the accelerator, mine brakes. Now mine does regenerative braking during that part. It won't actually tap the brakes as far as I know, but I think it does light up the brake lights because people behind me want to know if I'm in old man mode or go-kart mode because my deceleration pattern is going to be very different.
True.
If I drop my foot off the accelerator, the car, I wouldn't say it jerks you, but like you feel it. You feel that regenerative motor kick in.
Yeah.
And I like it. At first, I thought it was a little silly, and I've really come to adore it. I really feel it's how cars should have been designed in the early days. I think the whole idling forward is really just an accident of mechanics and history. Just let it go. The only things I'll say are harder are coming out of cruise control. So let's say you got the cruise control set to 55. Now, how do you get out of cruise control? There's probably a way you can do it with the buttons. I can never remember that one. I tap my brakes. That's how I get out of cruise.
That's how I did it, yeah.
So you tap your brakes. The problem is your foot's not on the accelerator. And so it's going to throw in all that regenerative braking. And so coming out of cruise control can be quite a jerk. So I find that that's the trickiest one. Coming up on a stop sign, you just learn the deceleration pattern for pulling your foot off the accelerator, and you really you get
coast
to nail
in.
it. I mean, it becomes like a fun little game. That game becomes quite a bit harder on downward hills because now you're playing how aggressive is my regenerative versus the slant taper, whatever angle of this hill. So those games become a little bit trickier, but I basically play the game of trying never to touch the brake pedal, and I love it.
Nice. Yeah. It was on this car. That did have a toggle. So there was toggles on the driver's wheel, and you could go between 0 regenerative and 3 as the maximum. The 1 was the default. And when you did 3, like, it was basically braking the vehicle. Like it was really, and I was okay. 1 seemed right. If I was going downhill, I kind of would adjust things a little bit, but I just kept it in 1. And there's a little bar that tells you the regenerative part. Now this car does have, it has all the bells and whistles, Frank. It has the cruise control. It has all of these sensors. They were very aggressive sensors, just telling you all the time things are around you.
Constantly beeping.
It's got the keep in lane, the lane assist. It's got the auto cruise drive. I'm gonna drive this vehicle for you mode. It has the I would like to change lanes. I will do that for you mode. Do you have that?
Cool. Mine doesn't have that. Now I'm jelly.
So
is that one actually hands-free, or do you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel for the cruise?
It gets very mad at you if you take your hands off the steering wheel at any time.
I will say mine I like because it's actually hands-free. You're allowed to take your hands off. It has a thing that looks at you, though, to make sure that you are looking at the road. It is looking at you to look at the road.
This one, it does. There you can go through the menus. I was like trying to like just like randomly when we were parked, I was going through the menu, and there's one that's called like how attentive are you or whatever, and it's like there's a gauge. It's like, are you paying attention or not?
ADD
I was always
100.
100%. I'm always looking all the time. So this one had all the bells and whistles. I'm a fan of bells and whistles. I'm a believer in this because the Subaru we have is a 2017 and it has the eyesight, and this one does the cruise control adaptive.
Yeah, love it.
It's got the lane assist, amazing. The lane assist is in the Subaru feels first gen. This one feels like 10th gen. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna keep you in any lane even if there's no lines. I don't understand how it does it, but it's like whatever. It's like amazing. Cool. Yeah, so cool. Great. This one, I was talking to Craig and he's like, I was doing the cruise control. He's like, the cruise and the drive, the auto drive, do everything for me mode. And when you're doing that, when you're doing cruise, adaptive cruise, keep in lane, drive, and shifting or changing lanes, it's basically driving itself.
Love it.
And Craig's like, yeah, you just gotta let in. Gotta let in. You can't fight it, right? You can't fight. You just let it in. You got to keep it in check. It did a good job, but it was very impressive, I gotta say. Even though I keep my hands on there because I was going to anyways, but it really did a fantastical job of just like doing stuff. Much better than the Subaru, obviously. This is 7 years later, so I'd expect it to be. Yeah. The lane change, very fascinating. So this one, I think it only works on the highway when it like really knows. It can like sense it, obviously. But what you do is the light will come on, and it's showing you all the vehicles around you and stuff. They're little blocks, but the guy's rounded corners, which is nice. And white, everything's a white block, which impressive. And you just you turn your turn signal to the right or to the left, and it
clever. Like it,
and it just moves it for you, and it moves, and then once it gets in the lane, it turns off your blinker automatically. It does everything for you, and it shows you. And then if you try to do it and a car speeds up, it cancels it. It's like, oh, I can't do that, and it like moves it right back. It's like, nope, can't do it. It's like it was like not qualified. Blah 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 blah. It moves. I would say this. I change lanes a lot faster than the car does by itself. So if you are in a situation where there's a lot of vehicles on the road, doesn't make a lot of sense. But if there's just a few vehicles or just you, it's kind of nice. It just moves over and does its thing. And that's nice if you're in all the modes, basically. You know what I mean? Where it's like you have everything going, just you want to do that. But yeah, it's cool.
Well, I'm pretty jelly. Yeah. I have to use my grubby hands to change lanes. It's
like an animal.
Yeah, I love all those systems. God, they're the best. The first time that freaked me out though was passing a semi. I was like, getting a little close.
I will say this time. Sometimes I feel like it's getting a little close.
Yeah,
it's getting a little close. It's getting a little close.
You look at the top down. No, it's perfectly centered in the lane. I guess I just naturally myself, I probably veer off a little bit when I'm passing a bigger vehicle. The computer has no fear. The computer's like, center lane, baby. We're going. Get out of my lane.
If anything, it has a bigger thing to detect that there's a huge vehicle there to stay away from. Yeah.
I almost wish I didn't have to buy a car this last year because all these systems are advancing so fast. You know, you said your last car was 7 years old. In 7 years, they're going to be twice as good again.
Oh yeah.
I've always been a pessimist towards the full self-driving just because I know how slow government regulations work. I've worked in an auto manufacturer. I know how slow all that stuff is. But the way they do it is exactly what's happening. They slowly allow little bits and little bits and little bits and little bits. And we're just going to creep into fully automated. Yeah. And that's why we're just going to see these incremental improvements. Obviously, there's driverless taxis going around San Francisco right now. We have all the tech. We're just waiting for the government to catch up and let us put that in every car.
Yeah. So I would say, in a nutshell, overall, good experience. I'm going to Seattle. Well, by the time this podcast's out, I'll be on my way to, well, I guess not at midnight, but like in the morning, I'll be on my way to Seattle. And I think if they offer me an EV, I think I'll do it because I'm just going to go to campus and back.
Oh, you're renting a car. Okay. Yeah.
Renting a car. Only because the Ubers from the airport to campus are like $100. It's so
They really
expensive.
are. It's the
So
same price as
expensive.
renting a car. I get you.
Yeah. So I go, okay, well, if I can get an EV, I don't got to worry about gas. And so like renting the car with, the corporate discount or whatever, it's like, it is way cheaper, even though it's from the airport. It's only 2 days. So it's like maybe $100 or whatever. So it's
Whatever.
like, okay.
Yeah.
And then since I'm there and some teammates are there, at least one of us will have a vehicle to go do stuff outside of
Mm-hmm.
campus. So that'll be good. But the nice thing is that I'm on campus, so I could just charge it right there and be good to go. Or just, again, charge it in Seattle, there's a quick charge anywhere. Even if it takes an hour to get to the through traffic to get to SeaTac
That's
on the
the
way back.
problem. Yeah, you're gonna be stuck in stop and go, but that's also where those automatic cruise controls are very nice, is stop and go traffic. So it's also good for I-5. I'm excited that you did zero research and still had EV success.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I went into it. I remember when I got my car, you were like, "Did you do all the research?" I'm like, "I did no research. I was just, I know electricity, I know cars, they'll go together. I'll figure it out." But I do agree with it. The network is terrible. I'm glad you went to a real big city and were able to do it. Yeah, Seattle's fine. You end up in Fred Meyer's and things like that.
Yeah.
Charging car.
Big parking lots. Yeah. No, I think that'll work out well. So I do think that it's a good experience. I think, again, if you're planning on it, even if you got to ask literally anybody just that in the town, or ask the internet, I'm going to the city, do a little bit of research, what network is there, you need to download their app and do the thing. I think ChargePoint's in a lot of places, but that's at least the bigger one that I saw. But again, there's a lot of them out there. But I would say I would still, would I've done it for this trip? I wouldn't have the story. It's hard to say. I'm 50-50. I still think it's good.
Really?
It doesn't make me still
Okay.
want to buy an EV. Like, I'm not going to go turn in our car. I would say all the stuff in it, I was like, this is a cool car.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me want to go like get rid of our Subaru for the electric Subaru. You know what I mean?
Okay.
One, because I'm in the mindset of, like you did, I'm gonna ride this sucker until I can't no more. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like my smart car, they don't even make the parts anymore for it. But like, I will do whatever I have to do to get third party parts, do whatever. Like, it's like my plasma TV until the plasma is leaking out the sides and it cannot turn on anymore. I refuse to get a new TV.
It's not even the first time. Like, the car will let you down once. It'll strand you out on some highway, but you'll fix it because you're like, the car's got a little more to go.
Yeah.
The second time it strands you, that's when you got to get rid of it. I went to the third time it stranded me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how it
goes. You'll wait it out. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, all the doodads, they're all going to just get better year over year. So the longer you can wait, the better, honestly.
I think so, yeah. And we'll keep going. And I think that it's also fine because we have two vehicles, right? Which means we would always keep a hybrid or gas vehicle. I'm a big fan of the hybrids. Hybrid or gas vehicle and an electric vehicle for just driving around town would make the most sense in general. So that's what I would encourage people. Is like, if you are thinking about it and you have two gas vehicles, I don't know, just get at least
Switch one of them.
Switch one of them. That makes the most sense. And maybe turn the other one to a hybrid. But again, I'm also in the mindset of, hey, run your car unless the government's given big incentives. Like, if they're like, hey, we will buy your vehicle from you at 500% of the value, so you buy an EV, then I'm in, right? That's the only real way to do it. But the incentives today aren't enough.
Right. The incentives right now, basically the automakers jack up the car price by the incentive amount. So, and you can get all those fancy doodads on a combustion engine and all of that. They are, just for the mystique of electric, they do seem to be putting a few more doodads on the electric vehicles than the other ones. That's fine by me.
What about this charger at your house? What's because we were in the app. Craig told me, here's the cool part about the ChargePoint app is if you are a business or just a house owner, you can just get one of the ChargePoint things installed in your house and you can charge people to use it at your house or your business, which is cool. They'll send you the
look into that. Yeah. I mean, I literally live on a dead end, so maybe I'm not in the greatest location, but everyone go do that. We need more charge stations. So my house, I discovered I was charging my car outdoors with the slow charging, 120 volts. 8 amps max.
Mm.
That's like half as slow because like most circuit breakers can handle 15 or 20 amps. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what was restricting it to 18? Because if you plug it into
8.
your outlet, it'll give 13. If you go up to, it's gonna flip the breaker if you go over it. What was causing it to be at 8?
I'm the kind of guy that goes through every settings in a thing.
Yeah.
I went through every setting in this car, man. If I went down every sub menu, every charging option, I wanted to see every option on this car. So I was clicking every screen. And you can limit the charge rate on 120 volt, what they call level 1 here in US of A. You can limit it to 8 watts in case something else is on that circuit. Like maybe you watch a plasma TV, those suck down power, right?
You don't have like it does. You don't have like a dedicated 20 somewhere in your garage? Like, because most of the time, what you find, by the way, if you're ever curious in your house, you often probably have a mixture of 15 and 20s. And often you will have a dedicated 20 in your laundry room and in your bathrooms. There's usually one outlet by there because they want a dedicated 20 because you plug in hair dryers or things that suck up a crap ton of energy. And often in your kitchen, you will have 20s as well. And often, though, be aware that just because the breaker says 20 doesn't mean the outlet is a 20. Because, my friends, if you're like me, where you redid all of your outlets in your house, why would you buy 20s? They're so much more expensive than 15s. Just put 15s everywhere. Well, Frank, let me tell you, I have then now retroactively gone through the house and I've replaced the 15s that were 20s that are replaced with 15s back with 20s.
All right.
Anyway, so there should be in your garage a dedicated 20 somewhere, right? No?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. No. Who knows?
Old house.
Yeah, old house. Plus, here's the real problem. I personally redid the wiring in the bedroom, which is the circuit closest to the circuit I'm trying to use. Here's what I did to myself. I hooked up an electric heater to the same circuit that was trying to charge the car.
So
I do have a master's degree in electrical engineering, and this is what I did. And so it became, do I want to charge my car or do I want to have a heated bedroom? Those became the options in my life.
Oh, no. I mean, okay, so the next option, by the way, is for Frank to install and run a dedicated 20 because he is an electrician. Electrical engineer. Right. He's not an electrician, but he's an electrical engineer. You figure this out. They're basically the same thing. Except for like
20. 20? 20. No, we're not doing 20.
I guess you could do a 240, right? Can you, because I guess, could you run a 240? Is there can you plug it into a 240?
You're driving me crazy here. Anyway, all homes in America are 240 volts. Most circuit breakers just tap into one or two rails. That's why you get 120 volts.
Yeah, but like let's say you have a gas stove, oven.
Yeah,
that's those a 240. So outside you have everyone knows a 120 because it's the 2-prong, 3-prong. The 240s, they're weird. They're like claws.
Well, there's 3 kinds of 240. So when you go into 240, now you have to say what is the max amperage at 240. And there are basically 20 amps max, 30 amps, 40. There's a couple shapes. Let's go with 20, 30, 50. I think those are the 3 shapes.
Gotcha.
So the shape that my car wanted was a little circle mouth.
Yep.
2 vertical eyes and another vertical. So 3 verticals.
3 vertical.
You'll also get the ones that are somewhat pitched. You'll also get the ones that have a little hook on them, like little L's, things like that. But the one I needed was 3 verticals, and that turns out to be a 50 amp connector.
Ooh.
So I needed to install. I needed to install a 50 amp circuit into my house, and this is where I'm like, you know what? This is where a rational person would call an electrician.
Probably.
I have a degree that says I know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna do this. Well, the real benefit was I had a friend visiting, and he also has a master's degree in electrical engineering. So it was the old, how many electrical engineers does it take to install a light bulb kind of joke happening? Because we had 2. Neither of us are electricians. That's the distinguishing factor here. House electrician stuff is weird. Anyway. So I decided to install a proper 50 amp circuit. Wow. Now the joke is my house service is only 200 amps. So technically, I can put 1/4 of all the power that this house can take into that
your car. Wow.
And I loved it. I'm like,
that's cool.
Yes, I want the 50 amp circuit.
Wow.
And so you have to buy 6-gauge wire when you're doing this. Most houses, let's be honest, a lot of houses have 14 gauge. You should probably have 12 gauge. If you have a high power area, you should have 10 gauge. 6-gauge is like, this is some heavy cable stuff. I could hear my brother making fun of me because he's a linesman. He does real high power stuff. He does real wires, real cables. But this is about as big as you're ever going to install in your house. 6-gauge wire. It's 50 amps.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's three conductors and a ground wire. So 4 total wires going through this cable. And do you know how expensive that stupid stuff is?
Yeah.
For 25 feet, these are island prices. I had to spend $180 for 25 feet. 25 feet of cable, $180. But installed a new breaker in the breaker box, which is always a thrilling experience.
Did you have to rearrange other breakers together? When they put in the sauna, they had to put in they had to do a 30, and they had to they did like weird things. I don't know what they're doing. The electrician knew. I was like, I trust you, whatever you're doing. Now when I open it, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. He's like move things around in a weird way. So I was like, I don't know what's happening anymore. He wrote on it, but I was like, I'm confused.
Thank goodness I inherited a pretty clean box. It had about 7 posts free that I could plug into.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so I was able to just pop one in. But honestly, I haven't worked on a breaker box in a while. So it was a real fun lesson of take pictures, go to the store. I think that'll fit. Yeah, I think that'll fit. Make sure you keep the receipt in case you got to take it back to the store. Buy a box for it to install into the wall. Buy the plate for it. And just wrangling that wire, that's a lot of work. Getting it up into the box, you don't want to bend these things, so trying to keep the box clean.
Mm-hmm.
Electricians, they're expensive, but they earn their keep, I think.
Yeah.
After all this work. But thankfully, with my friend and I, after just a couple hours, we got the box installed, the wire, the cable routed into a box, got it up into a box. And then I looked at the little circuit diagram on the package, hooked it up according to what I could understand the circuit diagram to be. These wires are so heavy. I don't know if I've said this enough. Jammed it into the wall. Plugged the car in. The car, beep, boop. I will be charged in 3 hours. I'm like, yes, you will, car.
So how do we calculate kilowatts per hour based on, we know the amperage 50, we know the voltage 240. Does that tell us the kilowatt power? I don't understand electrical
right.
at all.
So in a DC system, you would just multiply the voltage by the current, and that would tell you power. But it's not DC, it's AC, it's oscillating. And so what you normally calculate is what's called the RMS power, the root mean square power. So you just, AC is a sine wave. You just kind of square the sine wave, take the root of it. Anyway, it's a good way to do that conversion, but it's not a great conversion because there's always power losses the car has to rectify. It has to turn that AC signal into a DC signal, and there's tiny losses there, and etc. So I don't know if you noticed when you plug your car in, it probably told you what kilowatts you were probably pumping into it. I think I've seen this one go up to 8 or 10. I'm not sure. But much faster than it's ever done before. And like I said, I'm putting in 1/4 of the service of the house into this car. So I don't know. I'm happy. All the cords check out fine.
Yeah.
Check them with multimeters. I haven't tried to actually put 50 amps through it though.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, because here's the thing is I was, what Craig was telling me too is if you own a car, you actually don't want to fast charge all the time. You do want a slower charge in general, not necessarily into the wall, but a 3 or 6 or whatever, right? You don't want to do 100 watts, kilowatt hours nonstop because it'll
and you also don't keep your battery at 100%. It's a normal lithium battery. You want to keep it at 80% over the long term.
Yeah.
Especially me, I don't drive very much. So I try to keep the battery between 50 and 80% just to keep it. You want to keep it higher than that. 70 to 80% would be good. But it's within the car options, you can just tell it stop charging at 80%. And that's normally what you do.
That makes
I love
sense.
it. It was the first time I installed a high power circuit. Now the problem is because the wire was so expensive, I didn't put it in the ideal location.
Mm.
So I think I'm going to replicate this whole exercise one more time.
Oh no.
But I got to go buy like, oh God, who knows, 100 feet of
Oh
cable instead
wow.
of 25 feet. And that is going to be expensive. So I'm going to do that off island.
Can't you just splice it together?
Gross. No. Well, the big
You could. I mean,
these
you could.
okay. You got to see these cables, man.
Okay.
You are not putting a little twisty cap at the end of this cable. So if you do that, you would have to do a full junction box
Yeah,
and
that's what
everything.
they did here. They put a junction box in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, or you would even put another breaker box, because
Mm.
the nice benefit of this big 240 volt 50 amp circuit is I could break it into sub circuits with
Yeah.
another breaker box and do things like that.
Mm.
No, the real problem is the cord literally goes the wrong direction.
Oh,
So
oops.
I would run it a whole nother direction
That
and
makes
all that
sense.
kind of stuff. But it's fun adding to the house and
Yeah.
enjoying the EV life. Yeah.
Now I'm curious if people have a RV, like a lot of houses, like a lot of places that are like older, like are on different areas. I'm kind of curious on the island. Like often before there was a house, they would just like have RV
Yeah.
area, so run an RV outlet. And I'm assuming the RVs aren't just plugging into 120. They probably have like a 240 thing that they plug into.
They're 240 volts. They're 30 amps, not 50 amps. So they're actually a different connector for safety, your safety and security.
Yep.
And then also your washer and dryer, your range, your stove. Those are also 240, but they're 20 or 25 amps, which is another connector. That's why I was saying there's roughly three connectors out there for 240, and they're all different. So RVs, I it's a little bit annoying that all the auto manufacturers went for the 50 volt plug versus the RV plug, because certainly there are a lot more RV plugs out there.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things I bought for my car was an RV adapter, because there's just RV stations everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking immediately. It's like, oh yeah, like there's just an RV station. If you're getting 30, okay, well you're still getting
whatever,
5 kilowatt, whatever, is fine.
Yeah.
Basically anything's better than plugging it into the wall, in general. Like I will say we were parked one time and we had this, it was funny enough because we were parked there. Someone was already charging and then I came along, charged, and it dropped theirs down to 3. And then I think they left. I think they left, and then I got 6, which was great. And I even get a notification in the app that's like, you're sharing charging, you're not sharing charging. Which is cool. Here's my other last gripe that I have, which is fascinating, is they put the chargers on the vehicle in different spots. Now,
hilarious.
Where's yours at?
Mine's in what I'm going to call the correct position. I know where yours is. Yours is where the old gas tank used to be, right?
That's correct.
We call that the old man spot. No, it creates quite a problem at the chargers, because you then have the back end people and the forward end people. And half the fun at the chargers is looking what other people are doing while they're waiting for their car to charge. You can't see sometimes.
It's terrible. Ours was in the back, and to have to back into the spot every time. And also, a lot of these are in big parking lots, and the one time that we had to charge it was angled parking, which it's really weird to back into angle parking because you can't really do it, by the way. Luckily there wasn't a lot of cars parked here, so we were able to maneuver it, but it makes it complicated. Yeah. I was like, why is this in the back? This makes 0 sense. It makes literally 0 sense. I was like, whoever needs to be slapped, because it's silly.
It is so weird. And it really does seem like 50-50. I've seen new cars with it in the back, new cars with it in the front.
Makes no sense.
I can make I guess I could see, like, in the front, it's a little bit ugly. There's a weird cutout in the front of your car. But I love that mine's in the front.
You just pull right in.
I'm a front parker. I'm not a rear parker. So
Well, you're going to charge your vehicle. You are literally going to pull in to everywhere. Like the chargers are in front of we're not pulling into a gas station. It literally is. It's mind boggling in many, many ways. In fact, I would say the best place for them to put it is it wouldn't even be on the left or the right side of the front of the vehicle. It'd be in the center of the front of the vehicle. Cause then you could just pull in. It doesn't matter. You wouldn't have to have worry about this. Like that would have been cool if they would have standardized just a location. Cause it's hard enough on gas vehicles that you're like, oh, you always got, you know what you're doing when you're driving your vehicle. You're always looking down. Like, where's that little arrow? I've driven my vehicle for 5 years, 4 years, whatever. We've had the Subaru and the smart car. I never remember what side the freaking gas tank is on. So I always got to look down. Never. Where's the little arrow at for the gas thing?
My car didn't have the arrow, and I could never remember what side it was.
The Subaru has it, but the smart car doesn't. And I'm just like, what side is it on? It's like every time. But luckily, the smart car is small enough that it really doesn't matter. So,
you're absolutely. It's such the smallest wine on the planet, but it makes those chargers crazy. Like everyone's trying to like move their car around and rearrange it because those cables are so bulky. A lot of the cables are actually thermally controlled. They're literally running water through it, or not water, coolant through it to keep it cool.
Oh wow.
So they're ridiculous. It's like walking around with a fire hose and trying to plug your car in. And it's just awkward with people in different directions. Anyway, who cares?
All right. Well, there we go. Let us know what you think. If you've ever rented an EV, own an EV, anything about an EV, let us know. If you have tried Frank's application, if you haven't, we'll put a link in the show notes. But give it a try if you have an Apple Vision Pro. Let him know what you think. If you want to support the show, we got a Patreon, patreon.com/mergeconflictfm. It's in the show notes. We got other places you can find us online, on the Twitters, on the YouTubes. You can watch us. If you want, we're not even going to have they're not fancy. They're just literally us talking. So if you want to listen to it, some people like to use YouTube and just listen to the podcast in the background. It's on YouTube Music. It's on there. It's like all this stuff. Check us out. youtube.com/@mergeconflictfm, that wherever we're on the internet. But that's going to do it for this week's podcast. So until next week, I'm James Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.